but this is just to give the public a direct answer and an update from those who are in the know on what's going on there. So they're not here tonight, but we will have them here 2 weeks from tonight. Reports by constitutional officers and department heads. Mr. Gordon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have any separate report tonight.
Okay. County Administrator's report.
Just a couple things. I want to remind everybody about the Little League Open on the 21st. Not this coming Saturday, but the next Saturday. I believe it's 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock, right.
10 o'clock.
I had that on here today.
And let you know they came today and started the fence around the second phase as a where we play playground. So hopefully if the rain will hold off by tomorrow, it'll be completely complete.
Okay.
So that's all I have.
All right. Chairman's report. We'll start with financials first. I see we got our screen fixed.
Well, it was working for the meeting. I'm not promising anything at the moment.
As is customary, we cover a financial report first meeting of each month to talk about the previous month's financial results. For each month, those of you who may not keep up with it, we need $1,035,566. That's our monthly budget total. Our actual revenues for the month of February came in at $673,213 against a target of $1,035,566. The reason for the shortfall there is property tax drives that number, and property taxes were due December the 20th. So if you go back and look in November, December, and January, we're significantly above the goal, and this will continue to be a trend the rest of the fiscal year. Actual expenses for the month of February actually came in at $779,038, so we're significantly under budget there as well. We have a delta between revenues and expenditures for the month of February of a negative $105,825. Year to date, our revenues exceeding our expenses by 3.6, almost 3.7 million, $3,687,924. Moving down to the third set of rows as far as our main revenue drivers. Real property, we budgeted $470,000. That's your property tax. It came in at $105,000, but you can see in November, December, and January we were significantly above the target. LOST is the 1% sales tax that we use to roll back the millage rate. The monthly budget is $188,000. We came in at $208,052. So again, strong month. We're 5 months into the fiscal year, and each month's been over the target. EMS fees. Target's $95,800. There's a lot of variables that come into play there. We came in at $82,814. And then the last one is the vehicle title fee. Target of $62,000. We came in at $109,771. Again, people still buying cars. That's where that's coming from. So, any questions on the financial report? Okay. If not, just a couple of things I do want to mention. Terrell mentioned Little League opening day. We're all invited to that. If you've never been out there, it's a lot of fun to watch these kids, especially the younger ones who are in their first year, second year of playing. We've got a great program. The facilities look really good. Heard a lot of comments of a positive nature about the fields, and Jim and his staff have done a good job there. I want to thank the citizens for having enough confidence in me to not have any opposition and be the commissioner of District 5 for the next 4 years. Looking forward to that. A lot of things going on in Hart County, and we got a lot of things to do, a lot of things to work on. But I just want to say thanks for the opportunity to have that opportunity for myself for the next 4 years. Moving on down the agenda, Commissioner's Report, District 2.
I'd like to thank our law enforcement, Post 52, our first responders, EMS, county employees. I know our road department's been busy after all these rains and stuff, and really appreciate the job that they do. That's all I got.
District 3.
I would also like to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for being allowed to represent Hart County in the capacity of a county commissioner. I also was not had any opposition this election, so I'll be a county commissioner for the next 4 years, and I am looking forward to it. And really, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. If you have a problem, you have a concern, you have a question, ring me up. I'm looking forward to talking to you, and that's my attitude as a commissioner. And again, I would like to say thank you.
Okay. District 4?
Yeah, have we heard anything lately, Terrell, you probably want to answer this, about the satellite television?
I haven't heard anything from
And
you.
been October since we sent the letter, I think it was. We hadn't heard nothing.
No. And like I said, Beth, Vernon County keeps up with it. Real Reagan, we hadn't heard anything out of it.
Okay. Next on the list is Georgia Mountain Regional Council meeting will be in Hart County this month, March 26th. It's going to be held at Jack's down there at the old Walmart building beside Bobber and Beer. Invitation to you and the board member there. Glad to have you come. The speaker's going to be on cybersecurity. Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Moving on to old business. First item tonight will be to award bids for the protective netting replacement at the Elberton Highway facility. The recommendation is to go with Networks out of Social Circle, Georgia, who was a low bidder at $15,800.
So
Anything you want to add, Terry?
Other than the fact that this is the same installer that installed the original netting, so they're very familiar with the job.
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Carter to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Teasley. Any more discussion? Public comment on this issue? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Next item on the agenda is board appointments for the DFAX board. We have 2 openings and we have 2 applicants. Ernestine White, who is a current incumbent, is asked to be appointed, as well as I can't remember the other lady's name.
Pamela Fowler.
Pamela Fowler. Can I get a motion, if this is a pleasure of the board, to appoint these 2 ladies to
So
the
moved.
DFAX?
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Carter and a second by Commissioner Teasley to appoint Ms. White and Ms. Fowler to the DFAX board. Any more discussion?
I got something I'd like to say.
Okay.
Anytime we have people volunteer to do these boards, to serve your community, I think it's a good thing, and I appreciate these ladies stepping forward to do this. That's
Okay.
all I got.
Public comment on this issue? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Next item on the agenda is a homestead exemption discussion. We talked about this at our last meeting. We have a resolution tonight that we'll need to pass that has been put together by the county attorney. The process.
A few changes
Okay.
since the draft that I'd sent earlier,
Okay.
and it basically just recites that you are, shall I read it to you?
It doesn't matter. You can if you want to.
It's fairly quick and simple. It's whereas many Hart County property owners have requested that the Board of Commissioners seek local legislation to increase the L1 homestead tax exemption on ad valorem property for Hart Countyans 65 years and older. And whereas the county has examined the impact of increasing said exemption, has evaluated the impact of raising the exemption and the resulting loss of tax revenue for county and school operations. And whereas the proposed exemption will be of benefit to Hart County taxpayers 65 years of age and older, now therefore be it resolved that the Hart County Legislative Delegation be notified of this resolution and asked to introduce and pursue passage of such legislation in the 2020 Georgia General Assembly. So resolved for official purposes tonight.
Would we not have to specify the amount in the resolution that we're increasing it by?
We can do so. My understanding was that was still just slightly up in the air.
5,000 is going to be the recommendation.
Okay. When you pass that, I'll make the appropriate addition to it.
Based on what we've looked at and all the data Nothing's changed. My recommendation is we ask for a $5,000 increase and have that put on the ballot in November and pass this resolution if everybody's okay with that.
Like, if we decided that we wanted to do another $5,000 a year, a couple of years later, it still have to go before the legislator again
Yes.
to be approved?
Yes, it will.
I'll make a motion that we adopt this resolution with a $5,000 homestead exemption for 65 and older.
I have a motion by Commissioner Sayer and a second by Commissioner Teasley to adopt the resolution and move forward with the referendum in the fall, provided everything goes through the legislature. You've already got advertising and all that lined up in the paper.
Correct. That's correct.
Okay, because that will have to be done as well, so if that passes. So, all right, I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Public comment on this issue? Mr. Fogarty, if you'll come forward.
As he's coming forward, let me just say that the notice of legislation which I prepared for the local newspaper does include the addition, it includes the figure of an additional 5,000.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Fogarty?
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for letting me come up. I'm Bill Fogarty. I heard one thing, Mr. Gordon, in what you just read. You included the school in that. I don't think the schools are going to be affected.
I am not, I missed the last meeting because my wife, who was in the hospital.
It would only be the BOC.
Pardon me?
It would only be the BOC.
Very good, I'll make
So-
that change. Thank you, Mr. Carter.
I mean, I'd be more than happy if you could legislate and include the schools, but I don't think that's going to happen. One quick comment. First of all, last time when I was here, I thanked you for taking a step this way, and I think a step in this direction is great. And the one thing that we need to remember about this exemption, when it was granted years ago, probably even older than you are, Mr. Teasley. No, sir. The intention, of course, was to help seniors. And the $10,000 exemption was big money then. And not that $10,000 isn't big money now, but that was a significant effect on property taxes at that point. Since then, as you all well know, costs have gone up for everything, taxes have gone up for everything, but the exemption has stayed the same. So you've got a delta here. And I think the action you've taken tonight, and hopefully the action you'll take next year, will assist in eliminating this erosion of the effect of the exemption that's occurred over the years. And so that'd be my point. Let's not forget the other 5. As you mentioned, it can come back in and simply like that and do it again. So, but again, I thank you for your efforts. It's a step in the right direction. And remember, the weekenders still are paying 100% no matter how old they are. Thank you.
Thank you. I talked about this in the last meeting. If you look at our data demographics, and I don't know what the 2020 census is going to show, but the 65 and older age group is by far the largest group in this county. So when you look at it, when we compare apples to apples, we've got to keep that in mind. This board, we've run a lot of numbers and looked at a lot of different economic models, and I feel comfortable that we can make this one happen. We do have some significant challenges coming forward. We do have new industry coming in, and it's going to be phased in right now. It's at 0%, but replacing industry going out, it's at 100%. So it's not going to be a complete wash. But I think with the strength of the economy and what we got going on and the conservative nature of this board, I feel like we can make that happen. So I have a motion and a second. Any more public comment on the homestead exemption increase proposal? If not, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Next item on the agenda is new business, item 13. We'll begin with 13A, fiscal year 19 final budget amendments. You got a list of those in your packet. We'll just take them all at one time. Terrell, if you got anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, every year we have to have a balanced budget. Every department has to be balanced. We have a lot of departments come under budget. We have some exceed them. So at the end of the year, the expenses we do during the year that these people, that the board approves, we make this final adjustment at this time of the year after the auditors get all the numbers correct. That's what this is. And actually, we had a very good year in 2019. Altogether, our revenue was better primarily because of the splosh economy, the splosh and the vehicle taxes give us a big boost in revenue. So we got a surplus left over to go into the other funds. So we're actually still coming out clearing about $800,000 altogether. So don't let these budget amendments scare you. That's just moving money around in the existing budget.
I make a motion we adopt the final budget amendment resolution.
So second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Sayer and a second by Commissioner Carter that we adopt the final budget amendment resolution. Just for a breakdown, we had 3 that were over and 5 that were under. I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Public comment? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Next item on the agenda is item 13B, timber permits discussion. There's some new state regulations that have been enacted that we're going to have to pick up, and it's going to result in a revision to our timber harvesting ordinance. We've also had some issues with some timber harvesters, specifically with tracking mud out on highways and county roads and leaving ditches filled in where they went in, and there's a lot of issues there. We've had multiple citations in magistrate court. I don't think there's any need to take any action tonight, but this is some of the things that we're going to have to do. Current ordinance is in here, and Terrell, if you want to add to this.
But basically, is the biggest thing I can cover reading over the legislation is the amount. Right now, they put up $1,000 cash bond or an insurance policy warranty for that month. Those amounts, according to state laws, should change. Starts off at $5,000 if they have an infraction. The next permit they get, that will go up by $5,000 increments up to $15,000 for their bond. And that bond is to cover damage they do. Our current order right now really has, it needs to be tweaked where we actually have something that all we can do right now is go out and write them a ticket. And the time it comes up magistrate court, maybe 3 months from now. So we really have no power to stop them from doing what they're doing at the moment. So when we look at all this, we need to have Walter look over it and put something in it with some, at least a stop work order clause where we can tell them to stop, they get cleaned up and come in compliance.
That's on my list.
Yeah. I think there also needs to be some language in there where we have the right to refuse to grant a permit for a habitual violator.
That's true.
Because we know we've had issues with one. This one out here on 51, even though it's a state route, when we met with the DOT, this was a topic of discussion. I know they were called out there almost every day when they were tracking mud. So
They're supposed to have wash stations for that or something, won't they, Terrell? A wash station.
Well, actually, most of them
Supposed to have
put
gravel.
gravel down up through the road to work the mud off before they get to the
the
highway.
problem is, as soon as they went over it, that gravel went down in the ground.
Correct. I mean, this kind of weather, I kind of feel for them with the rain we've had, but again, they're not my main worry. My main worry is our public traveling up and down these roads.
Yeah, that stuff kind of slicky when you hit
It
it.
is.
It's a
Really.
serious
50 mile
safety
an
issue.
hour.
And at least we need a public safety clause in there. If it's causing a public hazard, we can shut it down.
So Walter, if you could, and I'll ask for this for a motion, if you could put together some updates with the topics that we've discussed, and anybody else has anything else they want to add to this one, let's go ahead and get them, and if you could bring them back to the next meeting, we'll take that for first reading so we can get that, if everybody's good with that. Can I get that in the form of a motion?
I'll make that motion to turn
Motion
it
by-
over to
I'll give you a
the
second.
county attorney.
Commissioner Teasley, a second by Commissioner Carter. Any more discussion? Public comment? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Next item on the agenda is Ashish Patel. This is going to be the store of LH LLC, doing business as Max Saver. This is a new owner who has applied for a beer and wine Class B license. This will be an off-premise package consumption.
Okay, his application was okay up until this afternoon. We sent Gene down to check it, as we always do the day before approval. Then the problem is, for this store to meet the requirements, the distance requirements, the main door has got to be coming in right there.
That
I mean,
door's locked.
And today, we've been there 3 times. All 3 times have been locked. We've warned them twice during this process that door's got to stay open. It was locked again this afternoon. So by that and him going using this door here, which is the main entrance he's using in and out, he is not in compliance with the distance from the church property back behind it, down at the bottom of the picture. And I'll leave that up to y'all's discretion.
I'll make a motion, we deny that request for the
Second.
permit until we can get a situation, if they can get that problem resolved, and then they can
I
reapply,
mean,
and then we can come
if
back.
they use that main door as it was built out there on purpose for this reason, as their main entrance, they'll be in compliance with the distance. But otherwise, they're not. They're just too short, and it's not fair to do them.
And I wouldn't think it'd be a bad idea to put a stationary wall where the door used to be or something so that,
Well, I don't know. I don't know. We got the. I don't know how was the right to tell him what he needs to do to this building, other than he's got to use this main entrance. I don't know. We got any authority to tell him he's got to do anything else to this building. That's a walker.
I think it's correct. He could use the other entrance as an exit door.
If my memory is correct, when this came up, as part of the approval process, the owners at that time, when they added on, they agreed to identify entrance, and the ordinance requires that the main entrance be identified.
Correct.
So they will have to have a sign there as well. That sign that used to be there is gone. But I do remember that part. But to be notified multiple times that there was an issue and the fact that they're not complying, yeah, I don't disagree. I think it needs to be denied. Any more discussion? Because I got a motion in a second.
I got a concern here. If they go up here and they open that other door, right, main entrance, and they use that for a while, and in 6 weeks from now, they start using the other door, what's gonna happen?
Well, if anybody goes by and that door is locked, they're out of compliance. They can be shut down.
I understand that, but the other door can't be locked, so anybody can come in either door they want to.
Well, I'm not arguing that point. To be in compliance, that main door's got to be X number of feet away from that church
It's
property.
gotta have a sign up there saying
Saying
main
main
door,
entrance.
and we'd be happy with that.
We've always been. That's the way it was held under the other previous owner.
It used to have, it does not
Yeah, I
now.
know. And have anybody talked to him and
He just
told
said
him
it,
that?
Gene
Been
had
down
been
there
there about
3
3
times.
I know, but somebody tell him officially. that
Yeah,
that's got-
Gene has told them, correct.
Anything else?
No, I'm good.
Public comment on this issue? Is anybody here representing this location? All right. Have a motion and a second that we deny. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Next item on the agenda is item 13D, no through truck ordinance amendment. We're having problems with trucks coming down 51, primarily trying to go to Purina, and GPS is taking them down all these little small roads. One, they can't even turn and make the turn. They get hung up in a ditch, and it takes a lot of emergency services time. Sheriff's Department, GSP, while they're waiting on records to pick these trailers up and get them out of the ditch so they can get turned. We talked about earlier adding several roads to the no through truck ordinance, and we could take this as a first reading. It'll take 3 to make it official, but Whitewood Road, Judd Cole Road, Rockdale Road, Deer Run Lane, Burton Moorhead Road, and Bailey's Garage Road. Well, you're probably thinking Bailey's Garage Road just circles around 51, but GPS will take a truck down through there.
Correct.
And these roads are, they're not set up for the turn, and we talked to the DOT about this little cut-through road out there next to Memorial where it comes off of 29, about some work there. And I think they're going to do that. But these are the roads that, Rose Acres is primarily Whitewood Road, and then the others are primarily Purina. So can I get a motion that we take this as a first reading, adding these 6 roads to the no-through truck ordinance?
I make that motion.
Have a motion by Commissioner Teasley. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Sayer. Any more discussion? Public comment on these roads?
I got a concern.
Okay.
In our ordinance, it allows any business that's local business does not have to abide by this. Am I
correct.
right? Am I
You're
right?
absolutely right. These are
If
not,
they pay in this county and pay tax in this county, they can be on
Well,
any
if
road.
they're-
in it.
if the truck,
If they're taking goods to a local business, would that not be considered
no.
a local business?
Unless that local business is located on that road. Now, if it's located on that road, yes, they can go down to deliver to it. Correct.
But
They
these
can't
would be the
cut through to
trucks
go from
owned
this
by the
road to that road over
business.
there.
These would be trucks owned by the business,
Okay.
not a third-party truck. So for
I want
example,
to make sure we got that cleared up.
Correct.
yeah, the ordinance is clear on that. Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Teasley, a second by Commissioner Sayer that we take this as first reading. Any more discussion, public comment? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. We also discussed these with the DOT while we were there as well.
Yeah, we're in hopes they'll either let us put signage in there right away before they turn to these roads, or if they don't do that, if they will put signage up saying that, because we put them as close as we can, but on the Memorial Road on that end, it's
One
hard.
thing you could do to help is to ask Purina to make sure that all their trucking companies that they help deliver to them knows the route to get, best route to get there. And I'm sure they would be glad to do that.
There's a lot more factors in it than
Yeah.
that, because there's brokers that are handling freight and everything
I
else.
understand
so.
that, but they can still work with them and try to get them where they know where they're going.
Okay, that brings us up to the next topic on the agenda, public comment. If anybody would like to address the board, if you'll raise your hand, I'll recognize you and come forward. Anybody for public comment?
You'll recognize her.
Yeah, I am in it. We do have a lady with us from Kelly Leffler's office, Nancy Bobbitt. She's here, so if you got anything you want to discuss with her, she's here. So I think she's going to hang around a little bit after the meeting. So nobody for public comment. Can I get a motion? We go into executive session for real estate litigation and personnel.
Make a motion, we go into executive session for litigation, personnel, and real estate.
Have a motion by Commissioner Sayer, a second by Commissioner Carter. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously.